Good morning. Good morning. How's everybody doing today?
Good.
Everybody's doing well? Very well? Great. Isn't this a beautiful day outside? Beautiful weather so far. Well, folks, my name is Larry, and on behalf of the National Park Service, we would like to express the honor and the privilege of welcoming everyone to the Liberty Bell. So how many of you are visiting the Liberty Bell for the very first time? It's your first time for many of you. We'd like to welcome you. It's a pleasure and a great honor. Well, folks, I wanted to start by saying that the Liberty Bell, people learn a lot about the Liberty Bell just by looking at the front. Because if you look at the front, you'll notice that the bell was made right here in Philadelphia. And it was made by two metal workers. Their names were Passon Stowe, John Passon and John Stowe. Why was this bell made? This bell was made for one reason. It was made to hang above the State House in Pennsylvania, Independence Hall. That was the capital. They needed a bell to call the lawmakers to their meetings, a bell to announce important events. It was a communication bell. Now, folks, if you look closely at the bell, did you notice that when this bell was cast, they inscribed a message on the crown? That message comes directly from the Bible, Leviticus, and it's a powerful message. If you walk around, the message reads, proclaim liberty throughout all the land unto all the inhabitants thereof. What a beautiful message. We'll talk more about that too a little bit further. Now, folks, I hate to disappoint you, but this bell didn't crack overnight. This bell rang for over 90 years. And we almost are certain that the bell rang not on July the 4th, but July the 8th, 1776. All that I'll say is that the bell announced the first reading of a very important document. Help me out, folks. What document are we talking about here? Declaration of Independence was actually read publicly, and this bill played a role in that special occasion. Now, that doesn't impress you. I have something even more impressive. In 1787, during a very long and hot summer, this bill summoned 55 people who in just 4 months wrote the Constitution for the U.S. That also occurred at the time of the Independence. So if this were a living object, I would call this an eyewitness to the beginnings of our country. It actually witnessed the creation of the United States. Now, folks, hang in there. It's a little bit mysterious, but around the 1830s, the bell undergoes a transformation. It becomes more than a communication bell. It becomes a symbol. And we believe that it actually started with a group of people who were called abolitionists. Ladies and gentlemen, can anybody tell me what the abolitionists were trying to abolish before the Civil War? What were they trying to abolish? Not to abolish slavery, trying to bring them into slavery. They were looking for a way to unite their struggle, their cause. Well, a group from New York called the Friends of Freedom heard about a certain bell that rang for American freedom. You know what they did? They had to literally walk over to the town and they saw the bell. What do you think they noticed when they saw the bell? What did they notice? What did they say? Remember the verse, proclaim liberty throughout all the land? What does liberty actually mean? It means freedom. It means freedom. Give freedom to everybody, not to you or me, but to everybody. So because of those words, they wrote a poem. And what do they call that poem? The Philadelphia Liberty Bell. That's how it got its name through the abolitionist movement. Now this is the beginning. It's not the end, folks. The Civil War divides America. Well, this bell started traveling around the country to help the country to reunite after the Civil War. It was a unifying symbol for both the North and South after the Civil War. Now, it gets even better, folks. Ladies, before 1920, what were women fighting to do before 1920? They were fighting to do the right to vote. You know what they used as their symbol? They used the Liberty Bell. But they went a step further, making their own bell called the Women's Bell. So we're not going to free this bell until we have the right to vote. So in 1920, the Women's Bell officially rang, proclaiming women's full citizenship in 1920. Have you ever heard of a guy named Dr. Martin Luther King? He gave a speech in which he kept saying over and over again, let freedom ring. Well, before he made that speech, he actually came to Philadelphia and saw the bell in 1959. Perhaps he was referring to that when he gave his famous speech in 1963 on the Mall. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for failing to answer a question. And what question do you think that was that I didn't answer? The number one question people ask about the bell. Yes, how did it crack? Well, you tell me, how did the bell crack? For ringing too long? Maybe they overrang it too often? Okay. How about a dramatic story? Did they shoot it or drop it? Was it struck by lightning? I mean, these are all valuable questions. My story is not that exciting, but we think the bell cracked because of wear and tear. It just rang for over 90 years, the metal just began to show fatigue and wear and tear. Now, ladies and gentlemen, when you break something that you really value, what are you going to try to do with something that you broke that you actually care about? You're going to try to fix it. How do you repair a bell? How do you fix a broken bell? Well, come closer, folks. I hate to disappoint you, but this is not a crack. What you see was a repair made to the crack. The crack was about as wide as a piece of your hair. You could barely see it. But to repair the crack, they had to make it larger. I know it sounds bizarre, but enlarging the crack, the size would make that unpleasant sound. This isn't a crack. This is a repair that was made to the crack. And guess what? It was so successful that they rang the bell again for a holiday. After about a half hour, what do you think happened? Yeah? It broke again, it cracked again. It sure did. Now, can you see it? Look carefully, folks. Look between the letter P and the letter H in Philadelphia. You see my finger? See where the crack starts? Now, if you trace it, the crack extends through the word and continues this way all the way through the T and the Y in the word liberty. The bell tolled for the last time in 1846. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I have a hard question. Does the Liberty Bell still work?
Yes.
Yes.
You say yeah, you say yes, okay. Anybody agree or disagree? I'm sorry.
No, it doesn't work.
No, okay. Now, folks, this is up to you to decide. Think about something. Think about this. If you remember, initially, why was this bell made? To do what? Yes. Bring people together. So, with that in mind, does the bell still work?
Yep.
Yeah, I think it does. People come from all over the world. That didn't happen in 1853. It happens today as an international symbol. Now, don't just take my word. Let's find out. Where are you folks listening from?
Tennessee.
You're from welcome Tennessee. Welcome. Anywhere else?
Welcome, Tennessee.
And, I'm sorry. Also Tennessee.
Yeah,
welcome Tennessee. Where are you folks from?
Bayshore, New York.
From Bayshore. Can you hold you down from Bayshore, New York? Welcome. Anywhere else?
Texas.
Texas. Welcome Texas. Welcome Texas. Anywhere else?
Los Angeles.
And from St. Louis?
Los Angeles.
Oh, welcome from LA. Welcome from Los Angeles. Welcome from Los Angeles. Welcome from LA. I think I rest my case. Happy Thanksgiving. We take photographs. Let's look at the questions.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, see, this was today. That would definitely mark as incorrect.
Okay, right there.
But you can see a copy of it. You want to take this one? Special call. I think it says how that is too. Happy Thanksgiving. Hang out. Ladies and gentlemen, you're free to take photographs as well as walk around all sides of the building, get a closer view, and we'll have to answer questions. Hey, Jack.